Yes, Pakistan has insisted that it will not unilaterally recognize a Taliban government and says it is using all it can to try and bring the Taliban towards an inclusive government which represents all sides of and all factions of Afghanistan. And with this is the Foreign Minister, Shah Mehmood Qureshi. Thank you very much for being with Al Jazeera. Mr. Qureshi, it's been a very fluid situation. What is your assessment on the ground, and is this going to work? Whether it is a government which is formed by the Taliban or it is formed by international pressure?
Certainly it is a fluid situation, it's an evolving situation. But before I comment on that, let me, Osama, share with you. Who are we? We are victims. Pakistan is a victim of this war on terror. We've had 80,000 casualties. We've had an economic loss of over $150 billion. We had to deal with 2 million, close to 2 million internally displaced people. We are hosting over 3 million Afghan refugees the world had forgotten. And we were not responsible for 9/11. There was no Pakistan involved. In fact, people rushed into Pakistan, when there was an operation that started, by the Americans without consultation. We were not consulted, and people came in, and we had to deal with them. We had to cleanse our areas. We had to fight. We had to protect our people. Innocent lives were lost, and we were asked to do more. Whenever we engaged with the international community with sincerity, we were doubted. We were questioned. We kept telling the world that the kind of government you've imposed in Afghanistan does not enjoy political support. There is corruption. There is misgovernance. Nobody listened. So, in this environment, Pakistan wants to be a partner in peace. Pakistan has been, and it's been internationally acknowledged, a facilitator for peace, negotiating. If you spend a year, if you waste a year in Doha and listen to Ashraf Ghani, who is a stumbling block in the intra-Afghan negotiations, is Pakistan responsible? Certainly not. We kept saying, keep the process of negotiations in tandem with the date of withdrawal. Unconditioned withdrawal? Were we consulted? No. Withdrawal? Were we consulted? No. Now, despite that, we have remained positive. We are engaging. Now, evacuation. The immediate challenge that people are facing, the international community is facing, is evacuation, safe evacuation. What is Pakistan doing? Positive, constructive role. We are facilitating. Our planes are flying into Kabul and getting people out. Our embassy is functioning 24/7, helping people. Diplomatic personnel, international organizations. Are we being acknowledged? No. We're not even being mentioned in the list of countries that are helping evacuate people. Is this an oversight? I am not sure.
But who do you hold responsible for what is happening in Afghanistan? Because a lot of finger pointing in the weeks preceding to the Taliban takeover has been towards Pakistan, that it is Pakistan's version of a government, that what Pakistan wanted is now in place. Is that true? And why is Pakistan saying to the international community that it wants help if it is its government in charge in Afghanistan?
First of all, Pakistan has been blamed enough. We've had enough of bashing. We've had our share of bashing. We, stop scapegoating Pakistan for internal failures. Now, I was shocked, when I was sitting in Tashkent listening to Ashraf Ghani, when he said, things have gone wrong because 10,000 infiltrators have been pushed into Afghanistan from Pakistan. I mean, really? It was the most absurd statement made by anyone, and everybody was listening. The question is, you had a force of 300,000 trained people. You had air cover. You were the most, you were well equipped, trained, but you didn't have the will to fight. Now, Is Pakistan responsible for that? Really, it doesn't happen. How did the Taliban move with such swiftness, at ease?
There was no support from Pakistan.
The question is, it's an internal support. Even when the forces were there in Afghanistan, when the withdrawal hadn't started, 40 to 45% of Afghan territory was under their control. When Ashraf Ghani and his regime was sitting in Kabul, they were restricted to Kabul and some urban centers, but in the rural areas, honestly, they had no writ.
Okay, so that was then and we're it now. What happens now in Afghanistan? What does Pakistan favor? What is the role that Pakistan is playing? And how can there be peace in Afghanistan?
Pakistan is part of the International Coalition for Peace. Pakistan wants to see reconciliation. Pakistan is not just engaging with the Taliban. Pakistan is engaging with entire Afghan leadership. Here in the Foreign Office, just a few days back, I had the erstwhile leaders of the erstwhile Northern Alliance. They were not Taliban supporters. Why are we engaging with them? Why have we been going to Kabul, trying to convince them that we have learned from the 90s. Let us not repeat the mistakes of the 90s. We want to be forward-looking. We want a peaceful, stable Afghanistan. It is in our enlightened self-interest because we want regional connectivity. How do we get regional connectivity without peace in Afghanistan?
Finally, we're running out of time. Very quickly, how confident are you that the Taliban are going to form a government which is going to be inclusive? They're going to make sure that all the rights of women and other minorities are respected? And are you urging them to do so?
I cannot predict the future, but where I am clear is we want an inclusive government. We want a government in Afghanistan which respects human rights. I think the initial statements that are coming out from the leadership are indicative of a new approach. We should encourage that. We should encourage the moderate element, the political approach, because there is no military solution. If there was one, you couldn't find it in 20 years. So, listen to Pakistan. Stop scapegoating Pakistan. Pakistan wants to be a partner in peace. Pakistan can be the most trusted interlocutor in this evolving situation.
Mr. Qureshi, thank you very much for talking to us. There you have it from the Foreign Minister of Pakistan, Shah Mehmood Qureshi, expressing that Pakistan is interested in peace and does not want to be scapegoated for what has happened in the past.